There is something out there in the woods. What the hell are you doing? Something horrible.
Speaking of deep cuts, here's a deep cut even for us VHS archaeologists. The Prey, shot in 1978, shelved until 1983, then barely released in 1984. It was a troubled production history that becomes obvious about 5 minutes in when you realize this is essentially 60% nature documentary footage and 40% actual horror movie shot in about 4 weeks. A group of impossibly wholesome teens, we're talking squeaky clean even by early 80s standards, head into the mountains for camping, unaware they're being stalked by a hideously disfigured gypsy who was burned in a forest fire decades earlier and now lives in caves eating whatever wanders by. And that entire story was actually cut from the final movie because the runtime was too long. What makes The Prey special, and by special, I mean perfect for making fun of with your friends at 2 a.m., is the absolutely glacial pacing, with lengthy sequences of, and I'm not kidding, deer drinking from streams, raccoons climbing trees, birds doing bird things. Like the director suddenly forgot he was making a slasher and thought he was making a National Geographic special. I appreciate it. I love the outdoors. I'm not here for the outdoors, though. The kills when they get around to it are actually pretty brutal. Our monster literally rips people apart. But you have to sit through so much wilderness B-roll to get there that you start wondering if the editor was padding the runtime or genuinely couldn't tell the difference between suspense and wildlife footage. Shot in the mountains outside Los Angeles with the cast of unknowns who unfortunately stayed unknown, The Prey exists in this weird space between slasher film and wilderness survival documentary. And I genuinely believe there's footage in there originally intended for a completely different movie. This is the kind of VHS you'd find at a yard sale. No case, just a tape with The Prey written on it in marker, and you'd watch it precisely because you'd never heard of it, and the video store wouldn't miss it if you kept it for another week. And then you'd understand exactly why no one was talking about it. But you kind of love it anyway for being so beautifully, bewilderingly wrong.